You are Locked On Red Sox POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Boston. On the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, the Red Sox got pitching, plenty of hitting, and they take both games from the Minnesota Twins. They sweep the doubleheader Sunday afternoon, Sunday night at Fenway Park. Sox now 500 as they enter the final week of the regular season. They've got 6 more to go, 3 in Toronto and 3 back at home Fenway next weekend against the Tampa Bay Rays. We welcome you to our latest edition of the Locked On Red Sox Postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, baseball play-by-play announcer and show host. I've spent time in the minors calling games in Batavia, Wilmington, Staten Island, and Aberdeen. 6 college baseball regionals for the ESPN networks. Covered the inaugural World Baseball Classic in Tokyo and Scottsdale, Arizona. USA baseball events in Cary, North Carolina, Houston, and Minneapolis. We are providing reaction every Red Sox game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as the Locked On Red Sox podcast feed, which you know is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. On our latest Locked On Red Sox postcast, we're going to discuss Triston Casas and his big day, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs in the Sox Game 1 victory. And Game 2 is Cutter Crawford working into the 8th inning and picking up his first win in a long time. Sox had 2 big innings in that Game 2 victory against the Twins as they complete the series, or the doubleheader sweep. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation, watching live on the Locked On Red Sox podcast on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit the comment button, join the conversation. You can also hit me up on the X as well, at Lennox on Baseball, with questions, comments, or concerns. Wrong answers only. Let's try this, okay? If you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, wrong answers only. Why did manager Alex Cora get tossed so early on in Game 1 of the doubleheader on Sunday? Our latest episode of the Locked On Red Sox postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right way and the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Go to Booking.com. Go to the app, Booking.com app today. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. So 6 to go. The Red Sox pick up a victory in Game 1. On Sunday, they come back and win the nightcap 9-3. Casas in Game 1, Cutter Crawford in Game 2. Sox 2 big innings. They haven't had many of those in recent weeks, and really go back almost 8 weeks. So you can go back 2 months. But the Sox are now, 78-78. 6 more to go. 3 in Toronto, 3 at home against the Rays. Close out strong. We're going to get into Rafi Devers because with the rain out on Saturday, we did not have a Locked On Red Sox postcast, but the Red Sox do pick up the doubleheader sweep. And if you think it's bad for Boston, how about the Minnesota Twins? They did have everything in front of them. They've been caught now, passed by the Detroit Tigers. If the Sox had lost Game 2 of the doubleheader to Minnesota, then it would have been Kansas City, Detroit, and Minnesota with the same 82-74 record going into the final week of the regular season. By the way, we're only talking about the third wild card at this point in time in the American League. The divisions pretty much sewn up around baseball. That's what the wild card, adding the extra postseason or playoff teams and all of that, that's what you got right now. The closest division races in the NL Western Division. I think the Padres are 3 back of the Dodgers. So 3 with 6 to go, not likely going to catch them. But the Twins are now on the outside looking in. Baltimore stumbling, really, since before the All-Star break. The Royals have stumbled over the last couple of weeks. Minnesota struggling over the last couple of weeks. The Detroit Tigers playing great baseball, playing winning baseball. And we'll touch on that coming up in our third segment. But right now, Red Sox 6 to go. Tied for 4th, or tied for 3rd, I guess you could say, in the AL East with the Rays. Does that mean anything? Does that mean anything to you if the Red Sox finish 4th and looking up at the Rays, the Orioles, and the Yankees in the AL East at the end of the regular season when all is said and done a week from today? Finish in 3rd place. Finish above 500. So you need 3 more wins you basically go 4-2 and you finish over 500, right? You can finish at 500, over 500 at 84-80. Win 2 out of 3 in Toronto, win 2 out of 3 next weekend against the Rays. Playing out the stretch. I sort of last Sunday, a week ago, saying it's basically you're playing out the stretch. But I wasn't going to say it until today. Now you really pretty much say it for the Red Sox. Playing out the stretch. Win 4 games, go 82 and 80. I think I had the math there, right? 6 games left. 84, you'd go 6-0, you'd run the table. Sorry about that math. Brutal on my part. E. Lennox, yet again. But they take 2. They get the run support for both starting pitchers. Tristan Casas, big game in game number 1. 3 home runs, 2 3-run shots, 7 RBIs. Had a 3-run shot in the first inning to make it 3-0 for Nick Pivetta. 3-run shot adding on to the lead in the third. And then the solo shot in the 5th inning for Casas. Second game, hit a ball that would have been out, I think, out of 24 out of 30 ballparks. Was walked a couple of times. At that point, they're just going to work around him, right? In game number 2. But why did Alex Cora get wrong answers only? Why do you think Alex Cora got rung up and tossed from the game so early on in game number 1? I was calling for him to get tossed a few weeks ago. Show some emotion. You know he's got their backs. Get tossed anyway. Anybody. Pivetta, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, and 4 Ks in picking up the win in game 1. Hey, they beat up on Pablo Lopez. Went 4 innings, gave up 7 earned runs. So an 8-1 victory in game 1. Alex Cora again ejected in the first inning. Cora got tossed. Wrong answers only. Why do you get tossed so early in the game? Managers will go out there and get run on purpose every once in a while. I'm not saying Cora did that on Sunday in game 1. Long day of baseball, sitting in the office for the rest of game 1. And then after Pivetta, 4 relievers, each working a scoreless inning. Kenley Jansen got the 9th inning, worked a 1-2-3 9th, and that was all she said, and that was all for the Twins in game 1. Game 2, hey, Cutter Crawford, great job. Down 2-0, gave up 2 runs, 4 straight hits allowed by Crawford in the 5th inning with 2 outs. Sox answer right back in the home 5th inning. 3-run home run by Romy Gonzalez. They add on 6 more runs in the 6th inning. Go up 9-2. Crawford pitching into the 8th inning. Got 2 outs. Longest outing of his career, and you're just thinking, get that one more out. Get that one more out, Cutter Crawford. Didn't happen. When Kowski comes in, long battle with Willie Castro, finally walks him on a pitch that was just down in a little bit. Didn't challenge him. Then went after Carlos Santana with the walk to Castro, that forced in a run. That run charged to Crawford. He goes 7 2/3, longest outing again of his big league career. Would have loved to have seen him get the full 8. Even Alex Cora was giving him the rope. A single, another single, a single, bases loaded, 2 outs. You didn't want to get it ugly from there. Crawford, done, 7 2/3, ends up giving up 3 earned runs, picks up the win, his first in a long time. That'll be part of numbers of the day and night coming up in segment number 3. But the Red Sox pick up the victory. Again, if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button. Wrong answers only. I love that on Facebook or on Twitter or Facebook or social media. Wrong answers only. Looking at a picture. Who is this? Wrong answers only. Why did Alex Cora get run from the game so early on in the very first inning, top of the first inning in game number 1? Animated, upset, rightfully so, I think, because that was not reviewable. They talked about it. They sent the runner to third base. Didn't cost the Red Sox, didn't cost Pivetta, but Alex Cora animated and got tossed. Would have loved to have seen them get tossed 3 weeks ago. Would it have made a difference in one game? I don't know. But maybe it would have revved the guys up, revved the dugout up just a little bit. Just a little bit. So the Red Sox take 2 out of 3 from, I guess you can call them the reeling Minnesota Twins. 500 now, 78, 6 to go. 500 for the 23rd time this year and for the 5th time now in the last 19 days. And the Red Sox, if you want to look at something, splitting in Chicago during the first half of the season before the All-Star break, splitting a 4-game series, having to win the final game against the White Sox in Chicago to split that series, losing the series finale a few weeks ago at home against the White Sox, had a chance to sweep them, did not do it. Bullpen gave it up in the 9th inning. But the Red Sox go 15-18 against the AL Central. The Guardians win the division. You're going to have, basically, I want to bring this up here one more time. You're going to get 2 teams, whether it's the Royals and Tigers, Royals and Twins, Tigers and Twins, Tigers and Royals. Hope you got all that. I think I got it right. But basically, unless something crazy happens over this next week, you're going to get two teams out of the AL Central as wild cards. Now, they could be 2 and done for the season and go home. Who knows? They might be able to turn things around. But right now, the Tigers, the money is on them to get one of the final 2. But right now, Kansas City, 82-74. Detroit, 82-74. Minnesota, 81-75, a game back of those two teams. If the postseason started, if the regular season finished today, it doesn't. It finishes next Sunday. Royals and Tigers are in. Minnesota on the outside looking in. But the Red Sox during the season, going 16-17 against the AL Central. Over the last handful of years, you can count back as far as you want. The AL Central, weakest of the 3 divisions in the American League. Guardians have had a strong season. Just a few weeks ago, the Royals had caught the Guardians. Then the Guardians all of a sudden started playing consistent and winning baseball. The Royals went in the other direction. Lou Merloni, first NESN reference, by the way, before we hit a break. Lou Merloni with Dave O'Brien on the NESN broadcast Sunday, basically saying, well, when the Royals lost Pasquantino, that was a big loss for them. And it was. It absolutely was. And Lou Merloni saying, basically, anytime you lose an Italian player in the lineup, that's going to cost you. Drew a chuckle from Dave O'Brien. I drew a chuckle from me as well. But the Red Sox in both games putting up runs, putting up home runs, and getting pitching. Do it for the final week of the regular season. Feel good about it. Hit a break here in just a moment. But also with this, with a lot about to happen with the Red Sox during the upcoming offseason, and this is a very important offseason for Craig Breslow in the front office. But I've got a tie-in to the Minnesota Twins and prospects. When you talk about the Sox prospects that are knocking on the door, maybe a little bit of beware of those prospects who may never live up to everyone's expectations. You can look at the Minnesota Twins with a couple of their guys, look at it and say, I don't need to keep every prospect, but if you're going to trade one of the top guys, you better hit on it in what you have coming back. We'll touch on that as well coming up next. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. Glad you're with us on the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Red Sox take not 1 but 2 games from the Minnesota Twins on Sunday. Locked On Red Sox postcast brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about with hotels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city during the postseason. Maybe it's time to taste test your baseball competition stadium cuisine. Luckily on Booking.com, you can find the stadium stay that is just right for you. With Booking.com's wide variety of choices across the United States, you can go incognito to all of your baseball rival cities. Booking.com delivers exactly the right U.S. stay for you. Booking.com can help you book a stay that's close to your home teams or your rival stadium. No matter what team you are rooting for this postseason, Booking.com can make you a fan of any U.S. city, from hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts to cute bed and breakfast stays. Booking.com has so many choices for you across the U.S. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. So the Red Sox take 2, 8-1 in Game 1, 9-3 in the nightcap of the doubleheader sweep over the Minnesota Twins. And the Red Sox do pick up the victory. 6 more to go, 3 in Toronto. That series underway Monday night. And then off day Thursday, back home in Boston. Then 3 for the Rays next weekend at Fenway, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday, both afternoon games. Game 162 a week from today at Fenway with the Rays and the Red Sox. That will wrap up 162 for the Red Sox. Sox now 10-16 in their last 26, and you can go down those opportunities as to how that played out. But 2 big innings in Game 2. Red Sox were down 2-0. Romy Gonzalez with an absolute blast in the 5th inning to put the Red Sox in front for the first time, and what would be for the final time as well, because they got the 3 runs to go up 3-2 in the 5th inning. Then the 6th inning, the Red Sox put things together, scoring 6 runs and sent 11 hitters to the plate in that 6-run inning. Cedar Rafaela was hit by a pitch to bring in a run. That made it 4-2. Then Jarren Duran, with the bases full, a double that scored 2 runs. Rafaela went first to third. Gonzalez sac fly. Rafaela scored. Then Yoshida had an RBI base hit, and Connor Wong also had an RBI base hit in that inning as well. Now, Josh Winkowski drove me a little crazy to the point where my youngest son came into the room and said, "What's wrong? Are you upset?" Easy enough question in my household on a daily basis. But I got upset in that 8th inning because Winkowski gave up the walk. Now, a long at bat against Willie Castro, but come on. At that point in time, you've got a 9-2 lead. Yes, you're entering the game with the bases full, but you've got 2 outs. Go after him. You give up a 2-run single in that situation, okay. I might argue with the pitch location, but it didn't get that far. Castro fouled off. I think it was either an 11 or 12 pitch at bat, and then he finally drew the walk. Fortunately, Winkowski came back, got the final out in the 8th inning with Santana on a fly ball, then worked a 1-2-3 9th inning as well. But that sort of just drove me a little bit crazy there. Pivetta, solid in game 1. Pivetta and Crawford both picking up victories. And in game 1, with Pivetta notching the win, 4 relievers all working a scoreless inning. And that was great to see for the Red Sox. Pivetta went 5, picked up the win at 6th on the year. Pavetta's got one more start. Tanner Houck, scheduled to go game 1 of the series against Toronto. He could have 2 more starts. He could possibly go in game 162 next Sunday at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. If Houck starts that game, you've got to at least be committed to him going 5 innings, I would think. Otherwise, use an opener and just use the bullpen. Had that thought during the game. Garcia, scoreless inning, 1 strikeout. Garcia, Sims, Weiser, Jansen, all working 1 inning, all working scoreless frames. Twins in game 1 had 4 hits against Pivetta over 5 innings, did not have another hit the rest of the way. And you beat up on Lopez. Pablo Lopez gave up 7 earned runs, ERA now over 4 on the season. And he took the loss, his 9th on the season. He's been solid. I mean, you look at the win-loss record, 15 wins. That's a nice number. ERA giving up the 7 earned over 4. So his ERA jumps to over 4 on the season overall. But the Red Sox picking up the doubleheader sweep. And again, you run with it, 500, and you sort of go from there. At bat of the night, I'm going to go Tristan Casas with his 3 home runs in game 1, obviously. The 3rd home run, the solo shot, 7 RBIs. But Jarren Duran with a 2-run double in game 2. Thought Romy Gonzalez home run put him in front, 3-run shot. 4 or 3? 3. 3 3-run home runs for the Red Sox. Maybe they could have spread that out over the previous couple of weeks and come up with a couple of more victories and been knocking on the door for that AL or 2nd or 3rd AL wildcard spot as well. Dave O'Brien, Lou Merloni mentioned it, and my ears sort of perked up. I was sort of in and out at one point in time, but they talked about it. You know, not a lot had to go right for the Red Sox in the previous 3 weeks or so. And again, if they had won in the series finale on the road a couple of nights ago in St. Pete against the Rays, they would have been 3 back of Minnesota going into the series on Friday. Now, they struck out, tied a franchise record 20 times on Friday night in game 1. But if they had won that game on Thursday against the Rays, instead of dropping 2 out of 3 at Tropicana Field, winning 2 out of 3, coming home with an outside shot at best. But you basically would have been right there. If you could have, and you would have needed a sweep, but maybe the thinking would have been a little bit different. Maybe the urgency would have been there a little bit more. Hey, we're 3 back. We can get into this. Didn't happen. But as Dave O'Brien and Lou Merloni said during game 2 of the doubleheader sweep Sunday, Red Sox just needed a couple more victories over the previous couple of weeks. You didn't have to string together a win streak. They won 3-game win streak since the All-Star break. 1. And a handful of 2-game win streaks. That's not stringing together a lot of wins. But if you just picked up an extra win a week over the previous couple of weeks, if you had won 1 game against the Mets, if possibly you could have taken 3 out of 4 from the Yankees, not lost 2 out of 3 against the Tigers in Detroit. If, that's what we have right now. So Casas, 3 home runs at bat of the day in game one, Casas with the 3 blasts. 2 3-run home runs and a solo shot, capping a 7 RBI game. And good for Tristan Casas. And then he shared a story on Nesson with Jemai Webster between games after the game one victory about Rob Refsnyder seeing him in the restroom and all of these things. And Refsnyder saying, hey, you're going to hit a third, I think it was, or, hey, you're going to hit more than 1 home run today, whatever it was. And Tristan loves to share stories. They're a little offbeat on occasion, but hey, saw this guy, he really got me excited. Saw a story in the shower, got me excited, got me pumped up, ready to go. All right. Good to see for Tristan Casas. We'll talk about a 3 home run game. How do you sum up the Red Sox season? We're going to work on having one show right after the season is over to sort of wrap up for us. We'll do that after the regular season wraps up next Thursday. Game 2, Duran. That'll be part of numbers of the night. Duran with an extra base hit. Duran with a couple of stolen bases on Friday. Man, that loss on Friday. There are some tough losses lately. I go to the one against the White Sox at home. The loss on Thursday was a bad one because you had it right there to be 3 back, right where Alex Cora wanted it to be going into the Twin Series. Didn't happen. And then the Friday loss was a brutal one as well, where you lose in extra innings and you tie a franchise record by striking out 20 times and going 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position. We're going to do Devers in our next segment. Rafael Devers, injured list, will not play again this season. But there was news on Rafi Devers on Sunday, and he did talk to the media with a translator as well. We'll get into that next. Steve Lennox with you, Locked On Red Sox postcast. Red Sox take 2 from Minnesota, 500 with 6 games to go in the regular season. Not where any of us wanted the Red Sox at this point in time, but it is what it is, and you'd like to see him at least finish above 500 with 6 to go. Thoughts on Rafi Devers after this? Locked On Red Sox postcast. Again, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day, sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, Prize Picks, simple, you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 stat player projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends. Become part of the Prize Picks community today. And with Prize Picks, you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct answers. Simple. 4 correct picks. Turn your $10 into $1,000. Sign up today. Get a $50 bonus instantly when you play $5. You do not even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks puts their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB. Get that $50 bonus instantly when you play $5. Again, code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get that $50 bonus instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. So Cutter Crawford picks up his first win in quite a while. That's going to be part of numbers of the night here in just a moment. Sox 500, and hey, they pick up a victory, and they win the series. Their 8th series win. 8-9-2 in 19 series since the All-Star break. You'll take it. You'll run with it. There are a couple series in there where had opportunities to complete series sweeps, didn't do it in the series finale. Had an opportunity to win series and just did not happen. And that's where they're at right now. By the way, Sebi Matthews, top pitching prospect coming into the season, according to MLBpipeline.com for the Minnesota Twins. Got a little bit of a heater. 95-96. Sebi Matthews was impressive, and they've got a couple of guys who could be knocking on the door next year. And I think Dave O'Brien and Lou Merlone sort of alluded to it. I went and looked at the MLB Pipeline prospects for the Twins. They've drafted some college guys here in the recent years, and Matthews is one of those out of Western Carolina. Not a top 3rd or top 5 round pick, but Craig Breslow, pitching heavy, during the draft after taking Montgomery with their first round pick this year, pitching heavy college pitchers. Now it's time to implement that pitching philosophy with these guys and get them to the big leagues over the next couple of years as well. Develop your own pitching. You can save a lot of money by doing that. You want to go out, trade for a Crochet, sign a guy like Corbin Burns, spend the money there. Okay. Sort of buyer beware, because they've been with the guys that you can bring through your system. And you look at some of the guys who have pitched this year. There are some guys that absolutely Fitz comes to mind right off the top. Now, you traded for him last offseason, but he's now in your organization. He's got a year under his belt, and he got to the big league level. But there's some other guys. Guerrero comes to mind for me. Guy who could be a good arm out of the bullpen. And he was up but never got into the game in the nightcap on Sunday. I want to see this guy pitch a couple of times here over the final week of the regular season. Now, what do numbers and what do performances mean over the final week of a regular season? They could mean very little or they can mean a lot. Just going into the offseason with confidence, that can take you all the way into spring training 2025. It really can. Not the overall numbers, but just pitch well down the stretch, get to the end of the season. So, numbers of the night. Cutter Crawford breaks a winless 0-6 winless streak. He was 0-6 in his previous 6 outings prior to Sunday's win. His last victory before earning the win against the Twins in the nightcap, August 13th at home against the Texas Rangers. So, good for Cutter Crawford. Good for Cutter Crawford. 22 losses in Crawford's starts this year. That number needs to be better next year. And again, you're looking at a guy. If you add, you get Giolito. I've heard now perhaps Whitlock is a bullpen guy next year. Okay. But if Giolito is going to be in the front of that rotation and you fingers crossed he's ready to go right from the start. And even if he's not, I want Giolito at the end of the season, a year from now. If he's not ready to go in April and he doesn't come back till May and they only go 5 innings to start, I'd be fine with that. But Cutter Crawford right now, if he's at the back of your rotation, he gives you pitching depth. He gives you numbers. Has Cutter Crawford done enough this year to break camp next year as one of the 5 starters for the Red Sox? Or is he possibly a bullpen arm as well? Jarren Duran, the number 80. He finally gets there. Duran with 3 doubles now, 2-run double in that 6-run inning that broke the game open in game 2 of the doubleheader. Duran now 80 extra base hits on the season, his 46th double. 2-run double in the 6th inning. Again, they scored 6 runs in that frame, and Duran had the big blow with the bases loaded. But now 80 extra base hits on the season, just 3 in the month of September. But 46 doubles on the year, 13 triples, and 21 home runs. 80 extra base hits for Jarren Duran. Just a few weeks ago, we were knocking on the door thinking he's going to fly past 80. He might hit 90 extra base hits. Well, picked up his 80th extra base hit on the season in game number 155 on the year? Game 156. Game 156. So Duran, again, 80 extra base hits. Hey, how about the fact that the Red Sox score 17 runs and collect 21 base hits, 10 or more hits in both games on Sunday? Red Sox had scored 22 total runs, 17 runs in 2 games and 2 wins on Sunday against the Twins. 22 runs scored in their previous 8 games, and that included 1 game where they scored 7 runs total. So those are the numbers of the day and the night for the Red Sox as they complete the doubleheader sweep. We're going to wrap up here, last couple of minutes with Rafi Devers. The big news for Devers, had the MRIs on both shoulders on Saturday. No surgery. It makes me wonder right off the top here, if maybe they had truly shut him down for a few weeks, would rest have given that? Now he's going to get months of rest here in the offseason. Those shoulder issues have to be 100% gone from this year going into spring training next year. The rest that he gets in the offseason, that shoulder issue on the left side, on the right side, they have to be gone at the start of next year. But if they had shut him down for a few weeks at some point, when Hamilton was still healthy, when Sogard was coming up from the minors, when Gonzalez was hot at the plate, You could have mixed and matched at second and third over a couple of weeks. If they had hey, we're shutting you down for 2 weeks, we're going to see what this is all about. I do think there's more to the Rafael Devers story with the injuries this year than maybe we ever find out. But the good news Sunday, no surgery. And hopefully there's no surgery in January, February into next year, and he's 100% healthy with those issues, because Alex Cora said it. He was, teams had realized we can throw fastballs by him. The swing path, bat slowed down, overcompensating, trying to swing harder to catch up. That doesn't work for a lot of hitters. So the timing was affected, missed a couple of games, came back and was in a funk almost immediately. But if there's no surgery required right now, you have to expect that this is behind Devers. Now, overall, you look at his numbers on the season. He's going to miss the final week and final 9 games of the regular season. His numbers were still impressive. He carried the team for a long spell. Next year, we cannot utter the words, as Rafael Devers goes, so does the offense. You've got to get more around him. You've got to change perhaps philosophy around him as well. You need guys who are a threat to put the ball in play. 100%. I'm not completely against bringing Tyler O'Neill back, but if Tyler O'Neill is going to be a 30 home run guy and a guy who's going to strike out well over 100 times, closer to 150 than 100, then you need other guys in that lineup who are putting the ball in play. You can have one big strikeout guy. You can't have 3 or 4. And you can't have a lineup going into a collective funk for as long as it did. For a long time there, when Devers was struggling and the struggles got real, nobody else in the lineup was helping out Rafael Devers and the rest of the lineup. And at one point, it was, as Duran and Devers go, so do the Red Sox. It's got to be even more than of that for the Red Sox next year. If they truly, look what the Yankees did. Let's go get Juan Soto. Let's put him in front or behind Aaron Judge. It's been behind, or in front rather, pardon me. And they've went from there. You've got to have more protection in the lineup for Rafael Devers in 2025, whether it's the prospects coming up or it's going out there, trade or free agency. Hey, as always, we want to thank you for checking us out with the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel and the Locked On Red Sox postcast feed. Also, a tip of the cap to our sponsors as well. Supporting our sponsors is supporting us with Locked On. Thank you. And a tip of the cap to Booking.com and Prize Picks. 100. It's hard to believe we're saying this. 156 in the books, 6 more to go for the Red Sox. Right now, a 500 team after sweeping 2 from the Minnesota Twins on Sunday and Sunday night at Fenway Park. Our reminder, as always, we will go live within minutes of the last out for Game 1 of the 3-game series between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays from Toronto on Monday night. That'll be our latest edition of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Don't forget, Locked On Sports Boston, #1 place to hang out immediately after every game.